What are some of the common pitfalls to avoid when investing in real estate? What a question. So some of the things that I see that people make a lot of mistakes in when it comes to investing in property is skipping the research. Okay, a lot of people go out there and they just start buying property in their own backyard, no research, just being told by friends or family because, hey, it's a good area, buy here. It's, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong in property. Just buy close to a capital city and you do well. To some degree, not really. How many people do you know have done well in property investing? I'm not talking about one or two properties they own, or maybe three, but someone that actually has replaced their income, stopped working or can stop working, and are living off the fruits of their hard work. Okay, not many people. Okay, and that's not just putting people down that have one or two properties. It's just stating the fact. So if you actually are trying to invest in property, you want to make sure you can. Make sure you do the right things and make sure you can achieve the right results. Another thing that people don't take into consideration is having a plan. Okay, how are you supposed to get anywhere if you don't have a plan? It's like saying, hey, you live in Melbourne, drive all the way to Darwin. Okay, and you'll be like, okay, I've never done that before. But you got no mailways, you got no maps, you got no nothing. Okay, you're just going to have to drive there. You don't even know where you're going. You don't even know where you're stopping or starting. You don't even know how to get there. So what do? You get a plan. You get the mailways. You write it out. You say, I'm going to stop here for 2 days. I'm going to stop here for 1 day. I'm going to stop at this hotel for 48 hours or 28 hours or whatever it may be. Okay. You need to have a plan in property. You can't just go out there and start buying property and have no plan at all and be like, oh yeah, we'll work it out. Don't worry. Just buy as many as you can. Well, what's your goal? What are you trying to achieve? Another thing that's very important is buying a property without clauses, okay? Not having a pest and building clause, not having a subject to finance clause. These are very important things, especially in pest and building. They can make you or break you, okay? You don't know if the property is in good condition because you haven't gotten a report. A $500 or $600 or $700 report is going to tell you a lot about the condition of the property and if there's any underlying conditions to the property. I see this all the time. People want to save money. Don't spend money on the pest and building report. What are you doing? You're buying a $500,000 property, okay, and you're getting a loan from a bank. The last thing you want to happen is something to the property, okay? Same goes with finance clause. You don't have a finance clause, can't get the finance. What happens? You are going to have to settle on the property. You're going to be in some strife, okay? So you need to get, your conditions in order when you're doing this. Now this one here, second, I don't even know what I'm up to here. I'm up to a whole bunch of lists here, but this next one that comes to my mind is getting caught in the details. So many people get caught on just the little things that aren't important. Okay, I get people that will focus on little things like council approvals that aren't in order, sometimes for a little garden shed at the back of the house, and people start to get a bit scared and curious and we're like, oh my god, this little garden shed's not council approved. Can something happen if something was to happen from an insurance perspective and all these things? And it's you don't need sometimes a council approval on some of these things, or maybe they don't like the way the house looks because of the color of the exterior paint or internal paint, or maybe they don't like the layout of the kitchen of how it is maybe. And some of these things may not align with how you want to live in a house, but you cannot be emotionally attached to a house when it's an investment. It's all about numbers, of course, and it's all about the location, and it's all about, of course, is the asset going to be structurally sound, and it's going to look after itself, and it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars each year because it's it's high maintenance. Okay, now doesn't matter what the walls look like, doesn't matter what if it's got wallpaper on the walls or whatever it may be. Okay, we've purchased property that I would not live in that have done extremely well. Okay, I've got some clients, some of these properties that I'm talking about have nearly doubled, if not doubled in value. Okay, so I'm not worried about what it looks like. I've got a client, I remember we purchased a property for $275. Property today is probably worth $500 plus. Okay, you've got wallpaper. It's got that old yellow light that's, in some of the internal doors and stuff like that, and the feature windows, like that LED light. It looks tacky but guess what? That property has done extremely well. It's got old carpet as well. Like, don't get caught up on these things because, once again, you are not living in the property. You can always change it, okay? Now, next one is location matters, okay? A lot of people don't really, think about that. It comes down to the research, but why I'm talking about this is because there are good pockets and bad pockets of every suburb, okay? And you need to stay out of the bad pockets, okay? Regardless if you live in Brunswick, there are good pockets in Brunswick, in Victoria, and there's bad pockets in Brunswick as well in Victoria. Same goes for if it's Bondi, or if it's in Orange, or if the property's in Townsville, okay? That's very important to understand. Plus, if you're looking in an LGA, like a council area, there are suburbs as well you probably want to stay away from as well, okay? High crime rate, high public housing, a high level of renters, low income level. And so what's happened there, you might have some strong capital growth when the market's doing well, but as well, can be a bit stagnant, and you can have a lot of issues with tenants in the future. So this is very important to understand that, okay? If you don't take this into consideration, you can absolutely have a catastrophic investment. Now, the last one, I've seen this happen before, okay? It's experienced, I know Adrian, my business partner, has experienced this, not having your finance in order and buying a property, okay? He bought a property, didn't have his finance in order. All fairness, it wasn't his fault, okay, but it was a bit of a story to it. But he bought a property without having his finance in order. Nearly lost the deposit, nearly lost over $60,000 on the property, and was about to settle on this property and was going to have a whole bunch of debt on his head, okay, which property was about $600K value, and didn't get his finance in order. One of the most riskiest things that you can do, okay? And he got this property at auction as well. So, you got to watch out in auction because there's different rules compared to private treaty. So this is something to make sure you get your finances in order, okay? It might take you a week. Get all your documents to your broker and just make sure you're finance ready and you've got the green light from them, okay? Sometimes you don't need a pre-approval depending on your circumstances, okay? Once again, this is not financial advice. This is what, sometimes happens with brokers. They will say, hey, you're in a good position. You can go out there, go buy a property. You'll be all right. You got some brokers will be like, no. You need to have a pre-approval. You got a bit of a tight position. Okay, so make sure you do this. If you're going to go out there and get invested in real estate, you need to tick these boxes. Okay, it's very straightforward. Okay, so follow these rules. Make sure you have your ducks lined up. If you don't, you're going to put yourself in risk. You want to avoid risk, okay? Investing in property is not about taking risk because you're taking on an investment. It's about mitigating the risk and doing it correctly, okay? The best investors, the best business owners, the best, athletes in the world, they all take risk, but of course they have calculated risk as well. They're not going to be silly about what they do, okay? So go out there, use these rules, and they will help you dramatically.